So I am not ready for fatherhood. I'm just not. I don't know how people do it. The older I get, the more it makes less sense to me. I've gone home from work days, and the only thing in my refrigerator is yogurt, and my cabinet, chocolate chips, and like tequila. And I'm like, well, I guess that's a meal. But I don't think that can sustain childhood nutrition. So I'm not ready for it in that aspect. However, I am ready and very eager for the prospect of making dad jokes. Like, I feel like there's one gift that's been bestowed upon me from any sort of divinity that may exist, and it's the ability to make really bad jokes and get a lot of satisfaction out of it. In fact, at work, one joke, just to give you an idea, an example for you, and the friend who hates it quite possibly the most is in this audience. Over Labor Day weekend, I made the joke, Labor Day weekend, I hardly know her day weekend. And it was terrible. And he hated it, which made me love it. And then every opportunity I had, I would make the joke. I told my coworkers one time, I said, here's the reality of it. If you hate my joke, I'm gonna be satisfied. If you love my joke, I'm gonna be satisfied. There's really nothing you can do. I'm like an autistic child. Any attention you give me just validates whatever I just did. So that's me. I love bad jokes, and that's just who I am. And so that doesn't always translate well professionally. And so that brings us to a job interview I had one time. It's for a job I actually work at now. It's for a gym locally. I don't want to promote where I work, but it's fun to stay at the... If that's not too subtle for you, I don't know. And so there's the interview for this, there's 3 preliminary rounds for choosing applicants. Interview, basically, the second to last interview comes down to you going in, filling out taking an hour paper interview sort of where you put down ideas that you would make the place a better place. And then, so that's the first part. And there's this, what they call a culture test. Basically, so there's a culture test, and then there's the interview with 2 directors. The culture test is where I was applying for a membership position for the membership team, and the culture test is where you take a tour with the other people who are on the membership team. So it's 2 individuals, right? And so I already have been to the YMCA. Well, I've been to the YMCA. It's a great place. I was a member for a year, so I knew what they had, but the tour wasn't for me to see everything. It was just for that culture test to see how I got along with the 2 people I was who were on the membership team. So give me the tour, and eventually we got to this room that's called the Exer Zone. Okay, and I looked inside the Exer Zone, and basically the Exer Zone is for tweens. We have a child drop-in childcare for people while they're working out, parents while they're working out for kids 0 to 8. But then 9 to 12, before they can enter the fitness center, there's really nothing for them to do, so we have the Exer Zone. And basically, it's a room full of fun and games. But it actually is. It was a really cool place. They had little mini rock wall. They had Wii's and Kinects and on this gymnastics area. I was like, dude, I want an adult version of this where I can just drink too much and just have fun. And so we were talking about it, and they were like, yeah, this is, I had heard one of the people say, this is the kidness zone. And I was like, did you just say kidness zone? She's like, no, kid fitness. And I was like, well, you should call it the kidness zone. That's really smart. And they're like, ha, that's really good. Kidness zone, it's a good pun. And I was like, you think so? And they're like, yeah, bring it up in your interview. And I was like, okay. And then they were like, but you have to give us credit for it. And I was like, sure. So we finished the tour. And then I was like, it was really funny. It was really funny. Maybe they take it. Maybe it is a good idea, the kidness zone. And then I we end the tour at the office where I had my final interview, right, with the 2 directors, the 2 people who are basically going to decide whether or not I should have a final interview. And then before I even walk in the door, one of the people I was taking the tour with says, okay, if he tells you this great idea, I was a part of coming up with it. And I was like, well, now I have to tell them. And so I sit down and I say, and they're like, so what's this big idea of yours? I'm like, well, So you have this extra-zone, right? But what if you called it the kid, and like halfway through saying that, you know when you say things and as you're saying it, you immediately regret it? You just know that's quite possibly the worst thing you've ever said in your entire life. That was that moment for me. I was like, we should call it the kid. Oh my God. I was just like, oh shit, you have to finish this thought. So I was like, we should call it the kidness zone. And I just look at the wall as if the wall is gonna provide some sort of solace for me that will make everything better for the fact that I just ruined my opportunity for a job that I was really excited about and that felt like it was for me. And so I said that, and I'm just looking at the wall like, oh my God, you're an idiot. Just leave right now. And then one of the directors straight up says, you regret making that joke, don't you? And I'm like, oh my God, so much. And then we all have a really good laugh. And I got the job. So yeah, it was all fun and games at the kidness zone, or the bad joke zone. Thank you.